When I was in medical school and in nursing school, we saw videos on birth and how births happen. It's not pretty. It's a miracle of life. A lot of things go on, but it's not for the faint at heart. It's a very interesting, complicated, beautiful process that happens that's not so pretty, also. Um, a lot of stuff goes on when someone is giving birth. Now, I didn't go into the field of birthing or maternity or anything like that. I went the opposite. I went geriatric nursing. I went to the old folks. That's the direction I went. Um, I mentioned this is about, it's a lot to see a person die. I I just want to kind of bring up that I've seen both sides. I've seen life and I've seen death in person, in real time. I got to experience the birth of my little girl, Monica Alicia. I was there and it was an incredible experience. To have this I love newborns, this new baby. I was there when my godson Loyal was born. He was born prematurely. My girl Tara, she was a trooper. I was there. So I've been there for certain, people coming into the world. Now, death, I've seen it professionally and I've seen it personally. And I try to decide which one to talk about first or which one to pick. And actually, it's all still kind of the same. It just depends on what degree you are close to that person or not. And you could become very fond of patients of yours. I just remember this one time I was working at Bay Harbor Hospital, and one of the patients was dying. Literally like there was basically this person any moment or whatever. And they were Samoan, and they had a certain tradition, and the family came. And this hospital, which is in South Los Angeles, it's in the South Bay area of Los Angeles, where it's very diverse down here, actually. It was in Harbor City. They allowed them to come and do the ritual. I thought it was very cool. This was like 35 years ago. I just remember it stuck in my brain. There was a certain ritual they did. They came together to make sure this person had a safe flight, safe passage. I wish I could remember. I'm picturing my brain right now as I'm talking to you. I haven't thought about it in 30 years. But they were in circles. They were doing certain chants or whatever. It was a bunch of stuff they were doing. I can't remember exactly, but I watched a little bit. It was beautiful, and because death is coming to all of us, obviously, right? It's coming. I've had several times where I saw someone before they died, or talked to someone before they died. But being in the room, I had my first experience was professional, where I was in the room where they pulled the plug. We were present. The family asked us to be present, and I was staying in the back. And it's interesting because, and even personally too, when you look at someone taking their last breath, it's almost like it's calm. It's very for me. It was very calming, and almost like fragile. Like that's it. That's just how when you can't breathe anymore, you're dead. That's it. And I thought, wow, that's just a very interesting way to look at life. With one breath, it's all over. And you see their chest stop going up and down, or you see their eyes not move anymore. It's not big and bold. It's like this really soft, very quiet moment. That's what's so interesting about it. One of the first times I had personal was during the AIDS crisis of the late 80s, early 90s. I moved to a place, late 80s, moved to a place where half the tenants were gay, the other half were straight in Sacramento. And there was a bunch of guys, they were all friends. They were all in the same age, they were all like a generation above me. So they were baby boomers, but they were all in their like 30s back then. Like they weren't that old. So I was my late teens, early 20s. They were like in their late 30s, early 40s. Which I think I'm like, that's even younger than me now in my 50s. And I remember the first guy, he was the husband. There was no gay marriage back then. We're talking late 80s. Of my friend Charles, who lived next door. And he got AIDS first of the whole group. And eventually they all died from AIDS. But he was the first one. And he wanted to die at home. And so he was in an apartment next door to me. And they were so sweet to me. They gave me, I was like this young 19, 20-year-old who I was trying to work my way into something. I was working as a waiter. Charles and I worked at the same place, the Korean Hotel. And I was working my way, and I had mismatched stuff in my apartment. I had a cute apartment. I look back at it now going, that was a great apartment. But they gave me a lot of their stuff because I didn't have anything. And they never asked anything from me in return. And to see him very fragile, his husband very frail, and he had basically told Charles, I'm ready. Charles called us over, the fellas in the building, and we came over and we circled him and we sat there. And because I was the nurse of the group, I was just kind of monitoring his heart rate, his pulse. It was getting weaker and weaker. And we watched him take his last breath. It was like and that was it. Very quiet. Everybody cried, of course. I cried, of course. We all cried. But seeing someone die is just it's so, not like the movies. Movies or TV shows, obviously, but like it really isn't. Very few shows or things actually get it right, but they actually get it where it's like, this is the most realistic of how a death is. But it was just very, I found it very peaceful, just like, and that's it. And then that's it. It's a trip. So I've had a chance to see both birth and death. And birth seems more eventful, more bold, more violent than most just deaths. And I'm talking about now I've seen people get shot and things like that and eventually die. But even that too, it's like they get shot. There's one guy I remember seeing, he got shot. He stumbled, blood squirting everywhere out of his neck. And he just kind of slowly went down. And that was it. He was dead. And then you don't get out of your head either also. I remember seeing one person come in. As I was working, came in with bullet shots, with bullet wounds, and collapsed I was doing the front desk that night. He just collapsed on the front desk. And that was it. He was dead. Just like that. I mean, it just seems like it's just this instant thing. That's it. So I've seen death. I've seen birth. I've seen it both. And it's where we came from and where we're going at some point. And I always hope that for all of us, our deaths are very peaceful and we're surrounded by people we love and who love us. That's it.